You might think Riddick is another science fiction anti-hero when there's actually a lot more beneath the surface. This video delves into the shocking reality of his cold-blooded survival, attacks, and a future that cannot be ignored. Get ready to discover the layers behind the legend and what makes Riddick so truly unforgettable. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Riddick is one of the last survivors of the Furian race. Riddick was born on the planet Furia, which is a place known for its harsh environment and harsher people. According to the Chronicles of Riddick, a prophecy warned that a Furian child would be responsible for the downfall of the Necromonger Lord Marshal. The Lord Marshal launched a genocide, targeting every infant born on Furia in response. Riddick was one of those children. He was strangled with his own umbilical cord and left to die, but a Furian warrior priest intervened and saved him, sneaking him off-world. Riddick had no idea where he came from or why he was different, having grown up without any knowledge of his origins. He was raised in correctional colonies and prisons. He only learned the truth about his heritage once he crossed paths with the elemental Arion. She tells him his survival was not accidental and that he's a Furian. By the time he learns about the massacre and the prophecy, most of his people are already gone and he's one of the last survivors. Riddick doesn't talk about Furia often, but everything there shaped him. Be it the violence, the rage, or the instinct to fight, it all started on Furia. Riddick's eyeshine is a natural Furian trait, not a prison enhancement. Riddick tells people that he got his night vision in prison by paying a back-alley doctor with a pack of cool cigarettes. The story is first seen in pitch black and suggests he underwent a painful procedure that made his eyes sensitive to light, which forced him to wear welding goggles during the day. He even claims it was performed by a vet with no anesthesia. But the game Escape from Butcher Bay rewrites this. Riddick never has the surgery. Instead, a mysterious creature named Shara tells him that he has been blind for too long and uncovers his hidden potential. He unlocks his eyeshine through a moment of psychic contact, marking the first time that we get to see his Furian powers. In the Chronicles of Riddick, Kyra confronts him while searching for someone to replicate the procedure, but couldn't find anyone. Riddick does not explain because his eyeshine comes from his Furian lineage instead of a surgery. Riddick has escaped some of the galaxy's most secure prisons. Riddick's reputation as an escape artist is not exaggerated, as he's known across multiple star systems for escaping high-security prisons. He had his most famous breakout in the Escape from Butcher Bay, where he's transferred to one of the toughest prison complexes in the galaxy. The facility had multiple security levels. Each level was guarded by automated turrets, lockdown zones, and zero sunlight exposure. Riddick navigates the system from inside using stealth, brute force, and manipulation. He breaks through all three tiers, fakes his death, and disappears before anyone realizes what happened. Each time he's recaptured, he just finds another way out. His second major escape takes place in the film The Chronicles of Riddick, which happens from the Crematoria prison. It's a prison built on a planet with lethal temperature swings where prisoners are locked underground to survive the heat. Riddick breaks free during a riot and times his exit with the planet's deadly sunrise. Even though he's chained in a subterranean chamber, he outruns the heat, disables the transport ship, and forces a mid-air reversal, taking control before the guards can react to it. Both escapes are built on observation, planning, and pushing limits. Riddick possesses superhuman physical abilities as an Alpha Furian. Riddick's strength, speed, and durability consistently exceed human limits. These abilities are tied specifically to his status as an Alpha Furian, which is a rare classification within an already powerful warrior race of Furian heritage. He's framed as just a highly skilled convict early on, but later stories confirm that his physiology is just different. In The Chronicles of Riddick, he survives a direct clash with Necromonger soldiers, recovers quickly from injuries, and overpowers enemies who are much bigger than him. His pain tolerance is also unusually high, as he's able to resist torture and continue fighting with broken bones and open wounds. Even during the crematoria escape, he scales vertical shafts and runs through intense heat with little visible strain. In the Butcher Bay and Dark Athena video games, Riddick lifts security doors, resists tranquilizers, and functions at peak level in low oxygen environments because he's stronger and faster than the people around him. His body is built to endure hostile environments, and that edge keeps him alive when nobody else makes it out. Riddick's hand-to-hand combat style is a lethal blend of multiple martial arts. Across the films and games, Riddick consistently uses short, fast movements to overwhelm opponents before they have time to react, as his fighting style is built on close-quarters efficiency. Behind the scenes, choreographers developed his style using elements of Krav Maga, Hapkido, ninjutsu, and Filipino martial arts to shape the way he moves in combat. In Pitch Black, he takes down opponents with minimal effort as he uses quick strikes and grapples to neutralize threats. He adapts his fighting style during fights with Necromongers, shifting between grappling, blade work, and pressure point strikes depending on the situation in the Chronicles of Riddick. The games expand on this. His unarmed combat includes chokeholds, elbow strikes, and disarms, all executed in tight spaces under pressure in Escape from Butcher Bay. His style reflects his background, which he learned through necessity and experience. Riddick rose from fugitive to ruler of the Necromonger Empire. At the beginning of the Chronicles of Riddick, Riddick is in hiding but gets tracked down and captured by bounty hunters. He's captured and taken to Helion Prime, where the Necromongers, who are an invading religious empire, are in the middle of a planetary conquest. Their leader, the Lord Marshal, recognizes Riddick as a Furian and tries to have him killed, fearing a prophecy that a Furian would end his reign. He's sent to the Crematoria prison planet after surviving the attack. Riddick returns to Helion Prime and confronts the Lord Marshal directly during a ceremony after he infiltrates the Necromongers. During the final fight, Riddick takes advantage of a brief distraction and kills him using a hidden blade. Under Necromonger law, anyone who defeats the Lord Marshal in combat takes their place. Riddick didn't ask for leadership, but no one challenges the outcome or the law either. The Necromongers kneel, and by their rules, he becomes the leader of the empire he was hunted by just days earlier. Riddick's ruthless survival instincts push him to do whatever it takes. Across every part of the Riddick franchise, his choices are shaped by a single priority: staying alive. In Pitch Black, he initially keeps his distance from the crash survivors. When he realizes the planet goes completely dark and is overrun by predators, he steps in when cooperation becomes necessary for escape. He carries power cells, navigates the terrain, and helps fight off creatures because being alone isn't an option. He walks away without hesitation when one of the survivors pleads with him to stay. He only turns back when she makes an unexpected move. In the Chronicles of Riddick, this same mindset is evident. He evades bounty hunters, escapes prison, kills to avoid recapture, and never loses focus on staying ahead of the threat. Riddick's morality includes unexpected acts of compassion and loyalty. While Riddick is known for his survival instincts, certain characters earn his protection. We don't really get to see these moments happen often, but when we do, they reveal a different side of him. In Pitch Black, he forms a bond with Jack, a young girl who initially mirrors his mannerisms. He ends up guiding her through the planet's dangers and tries to keep her alive, even though he avoids responsibility. He also respects Imam, a man of faith who sees something redeemable in him. Their relationship carries into the Chronicles of Riddick, where Imam looks for Riddick's help to protect Helion Prime. Riddick responds, even though it puts him at risk. Later, when Riddick learns that Jack, who now goes by Kyra, was imprisoned and changed by her experiences, he tracks her down and fights to get her back. Riddick doesn't offer any sort of comfort or promises, but when he cares, it shows in what he's willing to endure for someone else, because once someone earns his loyalty, it stays. Riddick is constantly hunted by bounty hunters across the galaxy. Riddick is one of the most wanted men in the galaxy, with a bounty that keeps him in constant motion. In Pitch Black, he's being transported to prison by a bounty hunter when their ship crash lands. In the Chronicles of Riddick, mercs track him to a remote ice planet and drag him back to Helion Prime. Even after becoming Lord Marshal of the Necromonger Empire, the threat doesn't abate because he's betrayed by his own soldiers and left stranded. In Riddick 2013, he plans to steal their ship and trigger a distress beacon to lure bounty hunters in. Instead of escaping, he uses the situation to his advantage and picks them off and plans his return. These constant pursuits shape his decisions, relationships, and the settings of each film. Being hunted is central to his story, driving him from one dangerous situation to another and forcing him to rely on his instincts, brutality, and desire to survive. Riddick has a deep connection to animals and beasts. Riddick's bond with animals shows a different side of him. He quickly understands and adapts to the planet's deadly creatures in pitch black and uses that knowledge to survive in the Chronicles of Riddick. He encounters a feral beast that is feared by inmates and guards alike, but he doesn't kill it, and instead makes a silent alliance that helps him avoid the dangerous environment. These connections intensify in Riddick 2013 when he raises an alien jackal-like animal from a pup. The animal becomes both his friend and guardian. Their relationship is based on survival and mutual trust rather than emotion, as their understanding is based on practicality. These interactions emphasize Riddick's instinct and his understanding of nature. It also represents both his alienation from human society and demonstrates that he can develop a sense of loyalty in unexpected ways. For Riddick, animals are allies in a tough universe. Riddick's real name is Richard B. Riddick. Riddick's full name, Richard B. Riddick, is barely mentioned in the films, but it appears in the extended universe, including the Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, and Assault on Dark Athena. Both games delve deeper into his past, which starts from his time in prison to his escape. The games use his full name often, especially in prison records and by characters who know more about his past. The games and tie-in material try to ground him as someone with an origin, while the films focus on his actions in the present. Knowing his full name reinforces that Riddick isn't just a drifting outlaw. At the same time, the films focus on survival and action, and the games and supplementary lore flesh out his background, which makes Richard B. Riddick a reminder that there's more to him than the mask of a killer. Riddick outlasted an entire planet of monsters. In Pitch Black, Riddick is one of the convicts stranded on a remote desert planet after a cargo transport crash. The planet seems empty, dry, and sun-scorched until the group discovers a race of nocturnal and predatory creatures hiding underground. When a rare eclipse consumes the planet in total darkness, the creatures begin to swarm. The survivors are picked off one by one, and it becomes clear that Riddick, with his surgically altered night vision, is their best chance at making it out alive. He watches the creatures, figures out their patterns, and uses the terrain to his advantage. His role shifts from threat to reluctant protector once it becomes clear that survival depends on cooperation. By the end of the film, almost everyone is dead. Riddick makes it off the planet, along with Jack and Eman. Pitch Black made it clear that Riddick is built to survive. Riddick has a signature use of knives and improvised weapons. Riddick doesn't rely on high-tech weapons and prefers to use close combat with sharp weapons that allow him speed and control. In the Chronicles of Riddick, he's usually seen with his signature ulak blades, which are deadly in his hands. When stripped of tools, he makes do with whatever is available and doesn't rely on just one kind of weapon. Riddick has used bones, metal scraps, and chains to survive throughout the franchise. In Pitch Black, he fights off creatures using just his surroundings, and in Riddick 2013, he builds new blades from debris after being left for dead. He doesn't wait for fancy weapons, he uses whatever he can get his hands on. Riddick's life has been shaped by prophecy and fateful encounters. In the Chronicles of Riddick, he learns that he may be the subject of an ancient Necromonger prophecy, one that foretells a Furian bringing about the end of their leader. He gets entangled in something more than survival once he becomes the center of this myth as one of the last known Furians. The prophecy casts a shadow over his life, hinting that his survival is tied to larger and more dangerous designs. This discovery shifts the meaning of his past. The destruction of his home planet, the enemies that seem to fear him before even knowing him, and the constant danger that follows him all begin to feel less like a coincidence. People see a figure of cosmic significance in him. Riddick doesn't seek out this role, but it changes the way others respond to him. Some want to control him, others want to destroy him, but the prophecy turns him into someone who could reshape the future of entire civilizations. Riddick's anti-hero status inspired expanded universe stories and games. Riddick's story clicked with fans so much that it grew beyond just the movies. His character shows up in an animated short, Dark Fury, novels that explore his past, and popular games like Escape from Butcher Bay and Assault on Dark Athena. These dive deeper into parts of his life the films only touch on, like his time in prison and how he survives against all odds. Marvelous verdict! Riddick's story is one of motion, survival, mystery, and myth. He transforms the deadly battles and the deep connections into something legendary. Which fact ended up surprising you the most? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insane facts about your favorite characters, and until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and stay marvelous.